Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Matt with the hardcover comic, and I just finished reading this book at like, I don't know, 20 minutes ago. It's like 3:30 in the morning, and I was like, I gotta talk about this book, especially while it's still so fresh. I thoroughly loved it. It is none other than Star Wars: The Old Republic Legends, which means that it was originally the Dark Horse run that ran from like 2006 through, I believe, like 2010, 2012, somewhere around in there before Disney and Marvel took over. So it's the Dark Horse stuff, so it is considered non-canon, but that doesn't make it any less good. I mean, it is absolutely phenomenal. This series specifically takes place 4,000 years before A New Hope. So that's why it says a long, long time ago, because it was 4,000 years prior, and it's going to collect like 55, 56 issues. It's 1 through 50, Old Republic War 1 through 5, and then some hand material stuff and some Republic handbook stuff, which I'll show you guys, which is really cool. So it's like 55 issues. It's like over 1,300 pages. It is thick, but the paper is very thin, and we'll dive into that. $125 cover price on this in the US. Again, go to organicpricebooks.com to get your copies of our books there. Someone said that this one was hard to find lately on Instagram, so I don't know if this one's going out of print, but there is a bunch more of the Star Wars Legends stuff that is being printed in omnibus format coming out in the next 6 months. So be sure to grab them. Like I said, use our offer code THC2 at checkout to save $2 off your order. Or if you order 3 or more books and you want them all shipped in one order, use THC Ship It Together, and you are going to save 5% off your order, which is going to equal a minimum of probably about $10 or more on your order. So be sure to use that offer code. So here is the graphic cover, wraparound cover, which I absolutely adore. I love wraparound covers when they're graphic like this. I think they look really, really good, especially when you have some killer artwork like this. Crack it open. You got the black end pages, which I really dig. You got your Star Wars title page here. This is all written completely by John Jackson Miller, who was a writer that I was not very familiar with prior to this run. And it's somebody that people should be more familiar with, honestly, because it was really good. And I don't know why he doesn't write more comics, because I thoroughly enjoyed it. Most of the art interior-wise was done by Brian Ching. There's a bunch of other different artists in there as well. Brian Ching did the majority of the run, though. There is your table of contents, and then it dives right in. The one thing I really love about this book, before every issue, you have the cover page, and it kind of has like your little down here. It talks about the writer, the artist, etc. I think it was really done in a very classy way, and I really like that it includes all the cover art. So this book, what it is about. So you got Zane Carrick, who is your main character. He is a Padawan who, well, I'll just tell you guys, I'm going to try really hard not to spoil big stuff. What I'm about to quote unquote spoil right now. One, it's been 17 years, and two, you find out about it like in the first issue or two of the book. It might even say on the back of the book, so it's not like it's a major spoiler by any means, but he is a quote-unquote failed Padawan who isn't very good with using the Force, so to speak. And the Jedi Masters that are training all the Padawans, they have a vision, and it's in order to protect the Jedi Order, they decide that they have to kill all of the Padawans. And so then he was late to the party because, well, that's just who he is. And because he was late to the party, he witnessed all of his friends and all of everybody else being slaughtered. And so now he's on the run, and they decide to blame him for the murders, because who are they going to believe? A young Padawan that nobody knows, or are they going to believe the Jedi Masters? Of course, they're going to believe the Jedi Masters. So now Zane is on the run, and he meets up with a ragtag group of individuals, Marn Hieroglyph being one of those individuals, who I absolutely love. Marn is a really fun character. When I read him, I used Alf's voice, the character Alf. I used his voice in my head when I was reading, so that kind of made it more entertaining. But Marn is sort of a con artist slash grifter slash businessman slash just all around fun guy. And then you get, like I said, you got Zane, who is your main character. And then later on, they meet up with some other characters named Jerail and Camper. There's Camper right there. There's Jerail. You learn more about them as you go throughout the series. You got his master, Lucius Dre. That is not Yoda, because again, this takes place 4,000 years before A New Hope. So that is not Yoda. It is just someone from the Yoda species, the Grogu species. But yeah, I mean, how cool would it be to be John Jackson Miller, right? And they're like, hey, you get to go play in the Star Wars sandbox. And he just goes and creates these new characters. Zane was an original creation. Jerail, Marn Hieroglyph. There's a Mandalorian that they team up with in here named Roland Dyer. And Roland Dahl, someone else. Roland Dyer. Sorry, I keep saying it wrong. Roland Dyer is a Mandalorian they meet up. He's an original creation. The Jedi Masters are all original creations. So these are a lot of original creations in this book. And I mean, it's got to be so cool to be told, like, hey, you get to go play in the Star Wars sandbox and you get to go create everything you want to do. Another cool thing about this book too is that if you were fans, you know, of the early 2000s Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic video games that were out on like Xbox and PC, and now you can get them on a variety of things. And they're supposed to be remastering them pretty soon too. But if you were a fan of those games, then you are very familiar with Darth Revan. I think it's Revan. And Darth Malak. And so this is actually a prequel to the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic video game series. So that being said, Revan is in the book. He makes some appearances, as does Malak, but this is all before they become who they are and who you know them as in the game. So yeah, this is like a prequel to the Knights of the Old Republic video game, which is also really cool. So some of the characters obviously were already created based off of that, but a lot of these other characters are all brand new creations. Like he got to go play in the Mumo brothers, Del and Dob. I mean, he got to just create all these new characters and things. And I can't imagine how fun that would have been. And the guy is such a fantastic writer. Really, really good. The art throughout it is really good. It does change artist a handful of times. Like I said, Brian Ching is the main artist, but it does change hands here and there. Some art I prefer more than others, which I think anybody that reads comics is going to feel that way. What your opinions are. Oh, there's Slisk. I absolutely love him. He was a good guy too. The Trandoshan. You got LB. Yeah, it's such a fun book. I highly recommend it. There's a lot of like twists and turns and things like that throughout the title that I'm not going to discuss because again, I don't want to spoil it, even though the book is 17. I wasn't familiar with this either until a week ago. I've had it in my collection for a little while when JP sent it to me, but it just sat on my shelf. I didn't read it or anything until just this last week, and I flew through it. That's how good it was. I thoroughly loved it. And so I don't want to spoil anything. People maybe like me that didn't know very much. But yeah, there's a lot of like twists and turns and things throughout the book. And not everything is always what it seems. And it just made for a very fun read and a very fun ride. And I thoroughly enjoyed that. I'm trying to find some of the Dustin Weaver cover art. I absolutely fell in love with his art too. He was an artist that I wasn't familiar with at all. Actually, a lot of these people that worked on this book I was not familiar with. But Dustin Weaver has turned into like an artist that I recently started following on Instagram, and I absolutely love his art. Really good. And there's another artist that did the covers towards the end of the title, Benjamin Carré. He is I believe, French artist, and he did some killer covers as well. So I really thoroughly enjoyed his cover art. So yeah, as you guys can see, it's just a really fun book. One thing I really like is that after most of the issues, they kind of have this sort of different, and it's always different. It's a different website, or it's a different wanted poster, or whatever it may be. But it's really cool and just kind of gives you more of an inside look into the Star Wars universe, which I think is pretty cool. So here's where some of the art I'm not as big of a fan of. As you can see, like the faces and things just don't, I don't know. Just not a fan of that style of art. Maybe you are. Teach their own. Here's some Dustin Weaver cover art right here. Absolutely love that cover art. That is so good. And he does a lot of the covers starting around issue 26 on. He does quite a few of them. And again, I don't know why these guys aren't doing more work or why they aren't more well known. I have no idea. Dark Horse found some diamonds in the rough with these guys back in 2006 through 2010. It was absolutely incredible. Like I said, the art for the most part was amazing throughout. The cover art is fantastic throughout the entire series. There's some more Dustin Weaver cover art right there. The story, like I said, John Jackson Miller's awesome. Actually, let me show you guys something as well. Like, he hasn't written a lot of comics, and I don't know why, because he is such a great writer. I wish he would write more. But he also wrote this, which is Star Wars Knight Errant. This is a custom bind that I actually just picked up from Tim Benson, who was selling it. And I was like, yeah, because this is another Dark Horse run. This one takes place 1,000 years before A New Hope. And so it was only like 15 or 16 issues. And I was like, well, Marvel probably isn't going to collect this Dark Horse run. So I was like, yeah, I'll grab this one. So I'm going to read this one next now that I'm done with the other. But yeah, you know, so this is the Dark Horse Legend. Oh, I don't call it Dark Horse Legends, but this is the Star Wars Legend. So it's non-canon because Marvel and Disney rebooted everything, you know, canon-wise back in like 2014. And there's going to be a bunch more of these omnis coming out. You got Rise of the Sith, which just dropped, and my copy has been mailed out, so I will be diving into that one as soon as I get it. That one, you know, obviously takes place around like episode 1-ish, I believe, is when that one kind of takes place, maybe slightly before episode 1. And then they've got the Empire. That one's going to be coming out now in May. It was March. Now it's been pushed back to May. Then they've got, there was one other one. I can't remember the name of it now. That's going to be coming out like in June or July. I think July of this year. So Marvel is pumping out a lot of the Dark Horse Star Wars stuff. Under the Legends banner, which had been previously printed in all the Epic collections. Now they're releasing them in Omni format. The one that I can't wait for them to release, and it hasn't been announced yet, fingers crossed, is going to be the John Ostrander run on Star Wars Legends. I can't remember what his one was called, but his main character was Cade Skywalker. And that one takes place like I can't remember, 200 or 300 years after like Return of the Jedi. So they kind of bounced all around, and they kind of just told everybody like, hey, go play around in this Star Wars sandbox and have fun. But yeah, so you got Slisk. I love Slisk. He's a very minor character in the book, but he's a lot of fun. He's a good dude. But yeah, lots of pretty killer art and things throughout for the most part. Even when the faces look weird, there's still usually a lot of detail and things in the background, which is fun to look at. There's Malik, back before he becomes Darth Malik. There he be right there with Jarail. Here's the Benjamin Carre art that I really dug with the Sky Reaver and Jarail there. Really good. The dreadnoughts and stuff. Like, I just, the detail and stuff that these artists packed in is insane. So I really love the fact that it's in the Omni format. One thing that I will say about this book, though, is that because, I mean, it's 55 issues with extras, so the book's really thick. That means the paper is very thin. I don't know if you guys can really see it in the video, probably not, but you can actually see, like when you're reading, you can actually see through to the next page. Like the paper is almost see-through. It's that thin of paper, which I was not a fan of. That is the one thing that I was not a fan of in this book, is that the paper is just way too thin. They really probably could have, I don't know, done it in 2 volumes, honestly, and made it, you know, better paper quality. But hey, they're doing it the way they're doing it. Can't complain. Beggars can't be choosers. It lays really nice and flat, as you guys can see. Some nice eye hole action there. Like this book has definitely been broken in over the last week. A lot of heavy duty reading. Yeah, so it's just a really fun time. Like I said, I don't want to spoil too much of the story. All I got to say is if you have any remote interest at all in Star Wars, go pick it up. Find a way to read it. Read it digitally. Find a way to read it because it is a very, very good title. It is a lot of fun. This was really my first introduction into the Dark Horse Star Wars universe. I did read some of the John Ostrander, Cade Skywalker stuff, but this is like my first complete set run that I've read, and it's great. I cannot recommend you guys this book enough. I really enjoyed it. It's fun to see Zane grow as a character throughout 55 issues, and Jarail, and just Marn's a good guy. Like there's just so much stuff that happens over the course of the series that you fall in love with these characters, and it's really sad that after this there's nothing else. This was it. These characters, I mean, maybe novels, but aside from novels, but like nothing in the movies, nothing in the cartoons, nothing comic book wise, none of that stuff, at least to my knowledge, has ever been released with these characters. So like after you finish the story, you're now done with Zane. You don't see Zane again. I think you see him in a vision in a book as like a throwback in a vision, but that's it. You really don't see Zane anymore. You don't see Marn anymore. You don't see Slisk anymore. You don't see Jarail. And it's heartbreaking because after reading this, you fall in love with these characters and you just want to know more about them. And unfortunately, you don't get that chance because it only runs for the 55 issues. They had their stay and then they leave. Roland Dyer, Camper, LB, Krinda Dre, Hazen, Lucian Dre, Zamar, Ronate, Feln, the ships. This is really cool. I love this like handbook that they created. I think it's really, really awesome. You got Reven. They call him Reven. You guys know why. You guys have seen it. But yeah, I mean, you got all these characters and things. That's really awesome. And a lot of this, actually the entire series takes place during the Mandalorian Wars. And so it's pretty cool. And then you have like all the different worlds and the, everywhere where they go. And then you have some more covers without all the word balloons. And then this is what I really dug at the end, because at the time when I was reading, I was like, am I, like, in my head, am I pronouncing these names correctly? They actually have a Star Wars name pronunciation glossary here for a lot of the characters. And I was like, oh, well, that's pretty cool. But yeah, it's a gorgeous book. It's really well done. Like I said, again, if you guys have any interest at all in reading Dark Horse Star Wars, do it. Do it. Once I get Rise of the Sith, I'll do a first look at that, and then I'll read it, and then I'll do a review on it, because I'm just having so much fun diving into the Star Wars universe. But anyways, thank you everyone for watching. I hope you guys found this informational, and I really hope that you guys go and check this book out. I highly, highly recommend it. I can't say that enough. So until next time, thank you much, everybody, for tuning in, subscribing, check out our Instagram, etc. And the power is yours.